Welcome to another video from the farm. Today we're talking about, can you live off-grid for free? So in short, yes you can live off-grid for free, but really depends on how well you want to live off-grid. If you really wanted to, you could find an old caravan like this busted up for probably free. And if you really want, you can be picking wild berries. But let's face it, if you're talking about living off-grid, you more than likely want to live in a nice little tiny home, nice little camper van, something way better than a ropey 20-year-old caravan. So that means you're going to have to spend a little bit of money to live off-grid, but you can still live off-grid for free. You just got to spend enough money. Spend enough money, you can pretty much have a mansion off-grid if you wanted to. There is no limit with how much comfort level you can have compared to a normal house. It is literally a monetary cost as to how much comfort you want. So if you followed the channel a little while, or if you're a new subscriber, you might have seen some of the videos, but we've lived off-grid for quite a long time now, about 4 years or so. And during that time, we've been building up various bits of infrastructure. So we now have pretty much a normal household scenario, but we're completely off-grid. What have we actually put in so we can live off-grid for free then? Let's have a quick look. As evident in a lot of videos you might have seen, we've got blue water pipe everywhere. Finally, after years, I'm now burying in. Woohoo! All of that water comes from a hand-dug well. So basically in here we've got a 3 metre deep well. Let's see if we can see down it. Just see the water reflecting off the bottom there, and that pumps up through a first stage filter system into our large water storage tank, and then from this pressurised little pump here we have mains water to the rest of the farm. Now obviously there was a bit of setup cost in digging that hole, putting that pipe in there, and then laying all the water pipes everywhere and installing that large pump so we can actually have proper pressured water everywhere. But now that's been done, we have free water. I've done a few rough calculations in the past of how much water we've actually used, and it's a ridiculous amount. It's probably in the region of about £5,000 or £6,000 worth of water if we'd have been buying it off the grid. So that's a hell of a lot of water saved. Animals and a market garden tend to use a fair bit. So if you're doing a similar off-grid setup, I'd advise having 2 water sources like we do. We also have this small little irrigation pond that actually extended a little bit this year in preparation for a much larger market garden area next year. Now, doing it like this with the 2 water sources, we can pretty much use as much water as we like for animals and market garden, veg, whatever you want, and then we have the well water pretty much exclusively for drinking water, so we are never running out of water here. That leads me on to the next thing, which is food. One of the most expensive items in people's expenses each month. As you can see here, I've got lots of perennials in this part of the garden. We've got blueberries, rhubarb, Jerusalem artichokes, we've got raspberries over there, gooseberries over there, we've got blackberries all the way around the edge of this farm, as well as we've got quite a lot of fruit trees on the go now, which are all finally fruiting this year. Most of the veg we've been growing has been sold to customers, etc., but if we were just to be eating that, it's a ridiculous amount of food. It's more than enough for about 10 families. So yeah, that's how you get food for free. Grow it all yourself. Obviously, if you're a meat eater, you've got to raise some of your own animals, which leads on to a further thing I'll talk about later on, ongoing expenses off-grid. The actual setup for free food is next to nothing. You need to go to a garden centre, not even a garden centre, you'll find them for free somewhere, and buy some seeds. Start digging a patch of ground, start growing. Easy. I've seen other videos, but we now have a pretty massively upgraded power system. As you can see there, we've got quite a lot of fridges and we've got an electric heater going at the minute. A lot of juice going through this system. We've got 24 kilowatts worth of power. It was a really big expense, but now we've done this, I've got free electricity forever. We use a lot of juice, and our generator, the backup generator for this system, hardly ever comes on. The current price hike everyone's going through for electricity, this second battery I got was well worth it. This video that sort of upgraded this system in 2 stages basically, and since I did that, the electric price quadrupled for some people, which brought the payback time of these bits of equipment from sort of 5-8 years down to less than 3 years. So a hell of a lot of savings now. Electricity is so expensive everywhere, which also nicely brought down the cost ratio, because all of these pay for themselves within the warranty time now, so win-win. All of this stuff is all perfectly sizable to your budget that you've got. As I said before, your comfort level is pretty much however much money you want to spend. This is sort of the top end stuff, but you can spend a fraction of the money here with stuff off eBay and Amazon, etc., super cheap components, and that will do you more than fine if you just want to have small TV, maybe a small fridge, minimum electronics, and you will be able to live off grid for probably £200 worth of electrical equipment. Yeah, we like it warm, and we like to use the hot tub and AC. We have about 1.5 times, twice the power of a normal house here now, so we've actually gone sort of beyond the scale, I'd think, of ever what a normal person would need off-grid, and that's mostly because, like I say, we've got a lot of high-powered electrical items we like to use, plus our system's running the whole farm as well, so it's technically multiple, well, I'd say it's 3 buildings this place is running already, but another couple of buildings to come, so a massive amount of power draw on our system. Like I say, you can get away with one a fraction of the cost. Your best option if you are doing it cheap is to just get yourself a little trailer or something. You'll pick one of them up for a couple £100. Like I say, a small solar system that will fit on the roof of it. You can get flexible panels now. That'll cost you next to no money. You might even get one free already on a small little caravan. People are sort of getting rid of these things as quick as they can now. People who've got a house have got bigger mortgage bills, etc. All these little things they've got sat on the driveways are all getting sold off. Yeah, a little something like this would be your perfect cheap off-grid solution. It's literally just a bedroom with a TV. It's got a little hatch in the back, you can see there, with all your cooking utensils in. Pretty much is the cheapest thing possible to run, because barely any heating in there. All you need is a sleeping bag, like a good one, and you don't actually need to heat it. Like I said, a small solar panel on the roof and more than enough power for that TV, whatever phone charger, laptop charger you need. It's so small, fits under a tiny little tarp like this, and can be towed by any small car. This leads me nicely on to my sort of last off-grid living point, is your running expenses. Unless, like I say, you've got everything nailed down and you don't really need fuel, you're going to have some expenses, including a car. Most people living off-grid, you're going to need a car, even for emergencies. And as mentioned, if you're a bit of a meat eater like myself and you're raising your own animals, you're going to need animal feed, because the chances are you won't be able to produce all of that yourself. Now, we have goats and kuni pigs at the minute, and they mostly eat grass, to be fair, and then a few other bits of veg we chuck them, but we do have to buy some food for them. Come spring, we'll be switching to a much bigger pig variety, which are predominantly for the meat, so we're going to have to be feeding them full-time pig food. Otherwise they won't get to size and we won't make any market value out of them, basically. Chances are you're going to have a log burner or two, so you're going to need to get wood in if you're not self-sufficient on that, because I didn't actually mention that before, but we have planted a ridiculous amount of trees, as well as we've got quite a few that have fallen and stuff, so we are 100% self-sufficient on wood, but that could be an expense for you if you've got to buy wood in. Actually got a friend who does sort of little logs like this, and he charges £100 for a builder's bag now, so a significant expense if you are buying your own wood. You will have some expense like that, and like I say, if you've got a car, you're going to need fuel. If you've got a generator for your backup, you're going to need fuel for that. If you're running your heating on gas or you're cooking on gas, you're going to need gas bottles every now and then. Now, all of that stuff is relatively low amount of money if you're set up right, or even if you're not set up right. It still depends on your lifestyle. If you live cheap, it's not going to cost you very much on fuel. First setup here, we only had a small little 2 kilowatt generator to be running on. Now that was costing around £3 or £4 a day in petrol, which overall isn't a huge amount of money considering we were running X amount of chickens on that. I think it was about 1,500 chickens we had at the time on that sort of small generator, so that paid for the fuel each day plus some. But if you're just a normal running cost for your personal use, £3 or £4 a day, it's pretty comparable to a normal house, isn't it? So as I've said already, it's possible to live off-grid for free and to start out ridiculously cheaply if you want to, but most people want a really nice modern life, don't they? With the modern comforts that we all enjoy, so I'd highly recommend doing it in a similar way to me. Spend the time, spend the money, build your things up that you need to live a full off-grid life and a normal modern life at the same time, which, yeah, as I've mentioned in other videos, always helps. And something you will definitely need to do is have a business on your land, be running a small farm. The necessity to put these things in to operate your business properly, as well as, hopefully, if you're running it right, the capital to help you build it. Hope you've enjoyed this quick video. Until next time then, bye bye.
Bye.